Hello, everyone. I hope everybody's doing okay, staying productive. We're almost close to the end of the semester, so best of luck with finals. Okay, so going forward, my name is Macy Sayas. I will be doing the economic calendar for April 17th to April 21st. Okay, so with the retail sales have plunged by 8.7% from month to month. In March, the sales declined by 0.4%, which was the worst than the market forecast of an 8% drop. This dramatic downward effect is the largest decline on record. The impact of the novel coronavirus has affected the economy more than anticipated and created a bearish effect. The biggest declines were clothing, 50.5%, furniture, 26.8%, food services and drinking places, 26.5%, motor vehicles, 25.6%, sporting goods, hobby, musical instruments, bookstores, 23.3%, gasoline stations, 17.2%, electronics and appliances, 15.1%, and miscellaneous, 14.3%. But on the other hand, there have been some rises. This will not be a shocker, so it's going to be an increase in food and beverages by 25.6%, health and personal care 4.3%. Those are seem to be like the two high necessities right now. So that is not really surprising news. So year on year, the retail, so comparing from last year, the retail sales fell by 6.2%. So the new home sales. So from the previous month to seasonally adjusted annual rate of 765,000, sale of new single family homes dropped by 4.4%. Sales fell in the West by 17.2%, Midwest 7.3%, but rose in the Northeast by 38.9%. It's a lot. And South by the 1%. Despite the declines, in February, there was an upward revise of 800,000, marking the highest increase since May 2007. I rated current home sales a bullish sentiment because the actual of 765,000 outweighs the forecast of 750,000. But I do want to mention though that the housing market will see nasty numbers in the near future. The figures released today by the National Association of Realtors barely scratch the surface of the coronavirus pandemic's impact on the real estate sector. Consumer confidence. The consumer confidence sentiment fell extraordinarily from 89.1 in March to 71 in April, thus missing expectations of 75. According to the records, this is the largest monthly decline since December of 2011. The free fall in confidence is due to the incline of infections and deaths from COVID-19. This has yet to peak. Once the economy restarts, the chances of a quick, sustainable economic expansion are unlikely. The downward slope will continue to slump in confidence, therefore implementing a bearish sentiment. I believe once the economy, especially the California economy, once we are reopened, I think, going to the movies, going shopping, doing the normal things that we were used to doing and didn't really think second question it, I think it's really going to hold a lot of people back from wanting to do those normal, everyday, weekly activities, because I believe the fear is definitely affecting the market and will continue to affect the market even if the economy opens. And this is going to be something that will slowly, gradually incline throughout time once there is kind of security that we have a vaccination or the death rate declines or whatever that is. But going back to the normal way of living and spending too is definitely going to be something that's going to happen gradually, and this is definitely going to take some time. to go back, as you can tell from previous years. Yeah, this is gonna, I believe, it's gonna kind of stay low. Jobless claims, okay? I know a topic that affects a lot of us. Okay, so going with that, since the economy is put on hold due to businesses taking the protection protocols, the unemployment claims continue to rise. The Labor Department reported on Thursday 5.245 million Americans filed for unemployment, which brings the new overall amount just over 22 million. The pandemic is nearly wiping out all the jobs created since the Great Recession. I give this a bearish sentiment. Though there was a decline from the previous week, the amount still exceeded the 5 million expectation. Federal interest rates. On March 30th, the Federal Reserve announced a rate cut of 0.5% due to the national crisis. As of April 2nd, the federal fund rate has been a steady 0.5%. The economists now expect a return to a very sluggish growth of just 0.3% for quarter 3 of GDP and a rebound to 1.8% in the fourth quarter. Expected growth of 2020 has been estimated 1.2% and a growth of 1.5% in the next year. The economy will see negative growth and be on the brink of a recession in the coming months. Treasury bond. The yield on the benchmark 10-year Treasury note dropped 10 basis points to 0.574%. Investors are now seeking security from Treasury bonds as the trend of oil prices continue to descend in a declining trend, thus purely reflecting the effect of the coronavirus shutdown. Gold. Gold has continued to decline due to the U.S. dollar appreciating in order to cope with current conditions. The strengthening U.S. dollar will deflate prices, thus affecting gold as a stronger dollar can make gold less desirable to buyers using other monetary units. Currency exchange. So in this one, it's going to be the USD versus the Japanese yen. So here you can see the yen has a positive incline of 107, which provides traders support. It is predicted the market is trying to figure out the risk appetite. Therefore, this will reflect a volatile market. S&P 500. Dow Jones was down by 2.3%, putting major benchmarks on pace for a second day of losses after a historic fall in oil prices. Oil, a very hot topic of the week. So, Saudi Arabia's oil price war with Russia flooded the market with crude. Now there is a massive oversupply and weak demand, causing shortage of storage space. Saudi Arabia has begun restoring as much fuel as possible and even at sea. Desperate traders are paying to get rid of barrels. This week, U.S. crude oil futures collapsed to trade in negative territory for the first time in history on Monday. The New Front month, June contract have declined by 43.4%. The predictions indicate the oil storage will reach its full capacity within the next several weeks, creating high volatility amongst prices as production cuts will continue to occur. Brent. The price of Brent crude has declined more than 20%, which falls below a $19 per barrel benchmark. This is recorded the lowest since February of 2002. Globally, oil consumption has dropped by 30% due to the coronavirus pandemic. Market news. Okay, so the hot topic of the week, which is the U.S. oil companies are facing massive losses. I mean, if that is with their money, if that is with their storage, they are worrying that they will never be able to recover from this because it is affecting them dramatically. I mean, clearly we've all seen this. The roads are empty. And then the Saudi Arabia war where they have increased production. So there is a lot of dispute and worries going on with this particular sector, and as well as investors wanting to exit out of this market and thinking of wanting to invest in treasury bonds. So yeah, there's a lot going on with that. Also, too, what I have read is Netflix has increased its subscribers by 15 million, which is double than what they expected. So they're implementing that this is kind of like a hot stock at the moment. Also, too, I read that there is a new talk of emergency money for the People Act. So what this is implementing is for instead of like the stimulus check that most people had received, which was only like a one-time check, now they're wanting to give Americans monthly payments of $2,000, which is going to be tax-free. So this is kind of to help you pay for your bills, groceries, or whatever. But this is more of a topic that's being discussed. Nothing implemented or anything yet. So that can be good for the American economy. Also, to what I have also read is that Georgia is going to be opening their economy. So, of course, they have to sustain the social distance of 6 feet apart. And what I found was kind of crazy is that it is not mandatory to wear gloves and masks. It's kind of up to your employer if that is to be implemented or not. And even though that they know that there's a pandemic going on, that the numbers have not declined, they are still wanting to reopen. And yeah, so I think that's a little bit crazy. Yeah, so this is the end of my slide and end of my presentation. I hope everyone is doing well and have a